back.
J.D. Hayworth sticking around with us. We were talking about Lindsey Graham yesterday throwing his hat into the ring. I know you're a good friend of Lindsey Graham.
Well, we have been good friends in the past. We just have substantial disagreements, and it's not Lindsey Graham's disagreements with me. It's his disagreements with the Republican base that have him at an asterisk or below an asterisk level. But it's indicative of the fact that that I guess when you spend time in the Senate, you think obviously you ought to be president. So he's certainly out.
What did you call it, President-itis?
Well, I call it Senate delusion.
Somebody in Washington one time told me, he said, you know what every member of Congress sees when they look in the bathrooms in the halls of Congress? In the mirror bathrooms in the halls of Congress? Future President of the United States.
Sure, everybody takes a look at it. Washington is predicated on the jobs that people have and the jobs they want.
Yep.
And it's not only elective office.
All right. You mentioned the asterisk poll numbers for Lindsey Graham here. A new Washington Post, ABC News poll shows that out of the GOP nominee, not just asterisk, not one has really risen to the top there. No one has a little even more than 1%, more than 10%. The Washington Post says the Republican field is largely, quote, a muddled mass.
Surprise, surprise. The Washington Post speaking pejoratively out of a process where people are actually involved. I'm shocked. You know, if you reversed it, they would say, look at the level of commitment in the Democratic Party. Look at the bench strength. Look at the leadership.
But let me ask you this. Do any of these polls really matter?
Well, they do right now because you're trying to raise money. But the point you're making is this. It's going to take the actual votes in the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire and South Carolina and Florida primaries to make a difference. The other numbers people look at are fundraising numbers, but right now, seeing a group of candidates all at 10%, first of all, you want to be those candidates at about 10%, including Dr. Ben Carson, who will continue to profile tonight, taking an extra close look at his campaign on Newsmax Prime. But the fact is that you've got so many people running, rather than being a muddled mass. It's the fact that a lot of people want the job, and there's a lot of talent and ambition in the party, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Early on.
Well,
so how do you decipher?
Wouldn't those numbers indicate, though, that 10% is about the loyalists in the party who are going to say, you know, you would expect that about 10% are automatically for Rubio, 10% for Jeb, 10% for Rand Paul. Not surprising, and you have so many candidates, they're going to have their loyalists saying, yeah, we're going to support that person, but there's a lot of undecideds as well.
Right. The scary thing becomes if the field stays crowded and you end up with an establishment nominee who only has the support really of about 30% of the party. That can be, talk about a muddled mess. That would be a muddled mess, not the fact that people are running right now.
All right, a little bit more before we go away. Ben Carson, topic of discussion on Newsmax Prime all week. You talked to John Fund last night about this.
We did speak with John Fund, and he has an interesting take. If you judge people by whom they are surrounded and who is behind them, it gives you kind of an indication of what's going on.
Take a listen.
He has been a tremendous inspiration to people. He has started scholarship programs that have helped thousands of kids around the country achieve their dreams. And of course, he's, as a brain surgeon, he literally has saved people's lives and engaged in some of the most pioneering and experimental surgery. So he's an American hero. Translating that to politics is a bit different, and he's had some rough spots, but he's adapting pretty well. And I've been to Iowa, and I've attended meetings where he has addressed audiences, and I've never seen someone with more committed volunteers and support that is as endearing as his.
If you have committed volunteers who are going to show up at the Iowa caucuses, that can make a big difference. You take a look at the big Southeastern leadership race that he won. He had his people there and they voted. And we're going to talk more about the numbers behind the campaign of Dr. Ben Carson. Morgan Thompson will be with us. That's tonight, Newsmax Prime, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific.
All right.